And is that important also that they should remember the confidentiality rule with what they put out about themselves in general for profiles for the professional versus their personal presence out there in the social media world?
Listen, that's an ongoing debate. I mean, there's one thread in that debate is the school of thought that goes, I've got a personal profile on Facebook, and then I've got my professional profile on Facebook. And I've got people who don't even know that I'm the same person.
So you have to?
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh.
I don't. A little bit more complicated than that. My position is is that you are one unitary person.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you on that.
First of all, you're not, on the internet, it's true that no one knows that you're a dog, but eventually they'll find out that you're not two dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes home to roost. You must make a decision about who you're going to be, what you're going to reveal, and that's got to just work across the board. It's true that there are venues where it's more lawyerly, more professional, look, LinkedIn ain't Facebook. And
you're not going to talk about what your dog did on LinkedIn. You know, right. No one's interested.
That's right.
But on Facebook, there are folks that are interested.
They might be, but so you're asking. It's a great question. I mean, I myself have been all over on that one. I mean, for example, when I first put on my Facebook profile, to me the obvious thing to do was put up lots of pictures of myself as a kid, so that my friends from when I was a kid will say, "Oh, that's Ronnie from the neighborhood."
That was not obvious to me. No.
Well, you know what? Once they saw those pictures, it was over. Like, why? How does it enhance what I'm trying to achieve in social media? To show the world that I had a Jufro in 1979, you know?
Oh, you should keep those up.
Well,
I need to see it.
Well, it's embarrassing enough given the present circumstance. So, you know, in other words, I myself have been through, the new media is evolving, and an individual's use of new media can evolve. So
they have to be able to find you and make it a positive experience.
Wherever they find you.
Right.
Because you're the same you.
Exactly.
If you're a lawyer and you're working on this credibility issue and this professionalism issue, and you have this unitary social media identity out there, why is there a picture of you, male or female, holding a drink? And look, I held drinks when I was in college too, but I don't remember posing for pictures holding drinks all the time. There seems to be no more common photograph of human beings in the world in social media than people holding up drinks. If you're going to, that level of discretion needs to be demonstrated even on your so-called private profile, and even the pictures that you think are not, remember, someone else tagged in that picture?
Absolutely.
I can find it if I have access to those person's pictures. Yeah. Decide who you are, grow up. You're a lawyer, you've got to grow up. May as well start now.
You know, you hit on a couple of really good things. One is you said core values a few times around the ethics that attorneys need to be aware of. But that should guide you. People say, well, how do I use all of these platforms and social media? And it's not that different than conversing right here. Use the values that you've learned in social norms in engaging. Just because you're online and you're sort of hidden behind a direct face-to-face doesn't mean that you should all of a sudden be, abusive or something like that.
That's a given. I mean, lawyers for sure have to answer to a higher standard than civilians.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things, and you're right. I mean, it's sort of this journey. First of all, you go out, you put a lot of pictures of when you were a kid, or what I did, I thought that I could have on Twitter, I could have a professional and a personal. But if you're committed to engaging on a medium like that, it's almost impossible to have two meaningful. It becomes schizophrenic. You know, who's on here, who's on there. Who am I engaging here? And then all of a sudden, it's almost my political life over here. But one of the things I decided on is I'm not going to have, just going back very briefly, I'm not going to have two accounts. You have to accept that this is a public life, and if you accept that you have to temper what you say, then you're okay with a lack of privacy. I've given up any idea of privacy. And once you do that, it's okay.
No, but there's not. I mean, the converse of what you're saying, or the corollary of it is that if you have two accounts, anyone with any kind of clue should eventually be able to connect the dots, because they're going to be many people in your own circle certainly are going to know about that, and you need to be accountable for what you say in your personal guise as an attorney. First of all, the same ethical rules apply. to the extent that they're relevant, but also the public, that findability issue, and the public profile, the public presence or footprint that you're trying to establish is everything. It's comprehensive. So you can't say, well, I used a 4-letter word. That was in my personal guise. Well, you know, you're a lawyer who uses 4-letter words and who demonstrates a lack of discretion. Lawyers are hired above all to exercise judgment and discretion. And that's part of the reason that there's so much about social media and that is so scary to a lot of lawyers and to a lot of, again, the more institutional, the more at risk. I mean, I could be wrong about this because capital markets and me have very little to do with each other professionally, but I don't imagine investment bankers are doing a lot of tweeting about their work. Okay,
they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be.
Not in today's economy.
And the lawyers who represent them aren't either. They don't have much to talk about.
No.